In a Manila high-rise, a man's worth was measured by the crispness of his accent. Mark Taylor, an expatriate manager, sat at the head of a polished mahogany table. Across from him sat Daniel, a young data analyst with brilliant insights. Daniel's reports were flawless, but his accent was a melody Mark found unprofessional. Mark had called the meeting to address this perceived flaw. He held up a termination notice, a simple business decision in his eyes. Daniel listened as Mark spoke in corporate jargon. Daniel did not argue or protest, he simply nodded. Mark mistook Daniel's quiet dignity for weakness. The meeting was over in less than 10 minutes. Mark felt a fleeting sense of accomplishment, believing he had improved the company. He did not realize he had uprooted a vibrant flower, leaving a hole that would soon grow larger than he could imagine. The door clicked shut behind Daniel, leaving Mark alone with the echo of his own voice. Daniel returned to his desk, a small cubicle in a sea of identical workspaces. His colleagues watched as he began to pack his belongings. Each item was placed with care. A photo of his family, a hand-carved bird, programming manuals. There was no drama, just the quiet ritual of a man taking his leave. His dignity was a shield against the humiliation of the moment. As he packed, his deskmate Sarah approached him. Daniel offered her a small, sad smile. "My time here is finished, Sarah," he said softly. He handed her the small wooden bird. "Please keep this, to remember our friendship." With his box in his arms, Daniel walked toward the exit. He paused at the door, gave a final nod, and then he was gone. The office felt colder, the hum of computers louder. Mark had removed what he saw as a problem, but created a vacuum felt by everyone. The quietest man in the office had left the loudest silence. The silence Daniel left behind was soon filled with whispers. "Did you hear? Mark fired Daniel for his English? But Daniel is the smartest person here." The news rippled through the office. Everyone had a story about Daniel's kindness and brilliance. Sarah, holding the small wooden bird, revealed the most stunning truth. "You think his English was bad? Daniel speaks 7 languages. He was a bridge between worlds, using his skills to help others." The whispers reached Mark's office, but he dismissed them as chatter. The collective sadness and anger of his staff created an atmosphere he could not ignore. Productivity dipped, and the cheerful energy was replaced by a sullen quiet. Mark had intended to make a statement about professionalism. Instead, he revealed a profound ignorance, and his team passed their own verdict on his leadership. The whispers were no longer just about Daniel, they were about him. Days slowly turned into a week, and the office atmosphere grew heavier with each passing hour. The once lively workspace now felt stifling, as if a cloud of unease had settled over everyone. Mark noticed the change immediately. Meetings were tense, conversations were clipped, and employees looked down or away when he passed by, their silence speaking volumes. A seed of doubt had been planted in his mind, growing roots that unsettled his confidence. 7 languages echoed in his thoughts, each one a reminder of the diversity he had overlooked, contrasting sharply with his own rigid view of communication and leadership. He began to see Daniel not just as an employee, but as a man he had deeply misjudged, someone whose value he had failed to recognize. Regret grew into a heavy weight in his chest, making it hard to focus on anything else. He replayed the firing in his mind over and over, realizing that Daniel's quiet dignity in that moment was not weakness, but immense strength. He had wielded his power like a club, breaking something valuable and irreplaceable in the process. One afternoon, as the sun cast long shadows across his desk, he found the note Daniel had left behind. It was a final act of professionalism and grace, written with a steady hand and a generous heart. Reading it, Mark felt a fresh wave of remorse crash over him, sharper than before. The note was a mirror, reflecting not just his failure as a leader, but as a human being who had lost sight of empathy. He realized he had not just fired an employee, he had silenced a vital voice, and the absence was palpable. The company hadn't been improved by his decision. Instead, it had been diminished, its spirit quietly eroded. Mark knew he had to do something, anything, to make amends for what he had done. He had to find Daniel, to seek forgiveness, and to try to make things right before it was too late. Mark's search for Daniel led him to a vibrant community by the sea, a place alive with the sounds of laughter, the scent of salt in the air, and the gentle rhythm of waves meeting the shore. It was a world far removed from the rigid order of his corporate life. He felt out of place in his crisp suit, a stark contrast to the bustling life around him. The locals moved with an easy grace, their clothes and smiles reflecting the warmth of the sun and the openness of their hearts. At a community center, he found Daniel helping others, his presence a quiet anchor in the lively chaos. Daniel translated a maritime safety manual for fishermen, ensuring they understood the information that could one day save their lives. He patiently answered questions, bridging the gap between technical jargon and everyday understanding. He read a letter for an elderly woman, translating it into the language of her heart, his gentle words bringing comfort and clarity to her eyes. He told stories to children, switching between languages, making them laugh and drawing them together, no matter where they came from. Mark watched from a distance, feeling awe and shame. He realized how much he had missed by focusing only on efficiency and rules. Daniel was communicating on a level Mark could barely comprehend, weaving connections that went beyond words. He was a bridge between languages and people, uniting them with empathy and understanding. In the office, Mark had demanded a single form of communication, believing it was the only way to maintain order and control. Here, Daniel demonstrated that true communication was a rich tapestry, woven from many voices, cultures, and experiences. It was about knowing which language to use at which moment and when to simply listen with compassion. It was about reaching another person's heart, making them feel seen, heard, and valued. Mark had fired him for not speaking the language of business, blind to the deeper connections Daniel was building. But here, Daniel was fluent in the language of human kindness, his actions speaking louder than any words. Mark knew he had to do more than apologize. He had to learn a new language, the language of the heart, and let it guide him forward. After the crowd thinned, Mark approached Daniel. Daniel looked up, surprised but not hostile. Mark's corporate apologies felt hollow here. He stood before Daniel, admitting his mistake. "Daniel, I came to apologize. What I did was wrong. I judged you without understanding you. I saw you here, with your community. I saw what you do for them. I am truly sorry." Daniel listened patiently, then smiled gently. "Thank you, Mark. In my village, we say the tongue can be a sharp knife, but kindness can heal the deepest wound. I learned many languages, but the best language is kindness. It is the one language everyone can understand. It does not need a perfect accent. It only needs a sincere heart." Mark understood he was receiving a lesson about humanity, a lesson that would change the way he saw the world and himself. Mark knew a simple apology was not enough. Words were easy. Actions mattered now. "Daniel, I want to make it right. The company needs you, not just as an analyst. We need your perspective and understanding of people. I want to offer you a new position, Head of Community and Communications." Daniel would build bridges within the company and with the local community. He would lead language and cultural sensitivity training. His job would ensure Mark's mistake never happened again. Daniel considered the offer, seeing a larger opportunity, a chance to change a culture from the inside out. "I will accept," Daniel said, "on one condition. You must stand before the entire company and tell them what you have learned. You must apologize to them, not just for firing me, but for the culture that allowed it." It was a bold request, requiring Mark to be vulnerable. Mark agreed without hesitation. It was the right thing to do. The next Monday, Mark stood before his entire Manila office. The room was silent, the air thick with anticipation. He began to speak, admitting his fault. "I failed as a leader and as a person. I valued a perfect accent over a brilliant mind and a kind heart. For that, I am deeply and sincerely sorry." He introduced Daniel as a new leader. Daniel's new role was dedicated to fostering empathy and respect. As Daniel stepped forward, applause erupted. It was a wave of genuine relief, joy, and respect. Mark had earned back trust through honesty. The apology was not an end, but a beginning. Under Daniel's guidance, the company launched new initiatives. Cultural sensitivity workshops became mandatory. The company celebrated the diverse languages spoken by its employees. They partnered with Daniel's community by the sea. The office filled with new energy. People felt seen and valued for who they were. The focus shifted to a dynamic, inclusive environment. Differences were celebrated as a source of strength. The transformation of the company was nothing short of remarkable. In just a short time, productivity and innovation soared to new heights, and the atmosphere in the office became vibrant and full of energy. People felt inspired to do their best work, and the results spoke for themselves. Employees felt empowered to share their ideas openly, knowing their voices would be heard and valued. This new sense of confidence led to creative breakthroughs, and stronger collaboration across teams. The company proudly displayed its multicultural identity, celebrating the unique backgrounds and perspectives of every team member. Diversity was no longer just a buzzword, it became a core strength. Mark became a true champion of empathy and a mentor to many. He made it his mission to support others, helping them grow both professionally and personally. He learned to listen more than he spoke, realizing that understanding others was the key to effective leadership. His patience and willingness to hear different viewpoints made a real difference. True leadership, he discovered, was about creating a safe space for everyone, a place where people felt comfortable expressing themselves without fear of judgment. As a sign of respect and genuine curiosity, he started taking Tagalog lessons. This small gesture meant a lot to his colleagues and showed his commitment to understanding their culture. His relationship with his team was built on mutual trust and respect. They knew he cared about them as individuals, not just as employees. The story of Mark and Daniel became a quiet legend within the company, a reminder of how two people can change an entire culture through understanding and forgiveness. It was a story about second chances, the courage to admit mistakes, and the incredible power of a sincere apology to heal and unite. It taught everyone that communication is not just about words or perfect grammar, it's about connecting on a deeper level, building real relationships. True communication is about compassion, respect, and seeing the world through someone else's eyes. It's about making others feel seen and heard. The company learned a lesson no business school could ever teach. True communication transcends language, culture, and background. It is found in a helping hand, a patient ear, and the willingness to support one another through challenges. It is about building bridges, not walls, finding common ground and working together toward shared goals. In a world full of noise and distractions, they discovered that kindness is the universal language that everyone understands. It is the language of the heart, spoken through actions, empathy, and genuine care for others. In the end, it is the only language that truly matters, the one that brings people together and creates lasting bonds.